And that's where we're focusing our next attention to. Let's quickly go to Abuja with Markwe.
Oh, yes, indeed, Gimba. We're staying with human rights issue, but this time around focusing on migration. Now, some lawyers and human rights activists in the country are demanding for payment of compensation to the victims of illegal slave trade in Libya. According to them, the federal government ought to take urgent steps to facilitate access to the African Court on Human and People's Rights. Well, joining us to discuss this issue this morning is Mrs. Dupe Atoki, who is the former chairperson of the African Union Commission on Human and People's Rights. It's an AU organ responsible for the promotion of human rights in Africa. She's also a human rights activist. You're welcome to Sunrise Daily.
Thank you.
Well, we're seeing in other capacities as well, the Consumer Protection Council. Maybe that background also helped you in your work there. But before you comment on what is happening, I mean, what we've seen happening in Libya, do you see any connection with the End SARS campaign that's also happening here in Nigeria?
I see the connection of both as a human rights issue. Basically because the SARS, which is the Special Armed Robbery Unit of the Nigerian police, in performing their duties, are alleged to have violated some human rights of Nigerians. There are allegations that there are extrajudicial killings. There are allegations of torture or cruel, inhuman treatment and punishment, and these are human rights issues. And so I see the connection with the issues that are arising in Libya, which we'll be talking about shortly. And with regards to the SARS, every human being has rights, even a suspect, and at the end, a prisoner. And so while the police, in the course of the protection of Nigerians or peoples against their safety and property, are entitled also to recognize the rights of these people. So basically, a suspect who is under investigation and whose there's no conclusion as to its culpability otherwise, is entitled to have his right, two fundamental rights: right to life and right to dignity of a person. Right to life is an inviolable right. Everybody is entitled to his right and must not be denied of that right, except on the order of a court. So when a person is killed outside that circumstance, we call it extrajudicial killing, and that's a violation of a right, guaranteed by the Constitution of Nigeria in Section 31, and guaranteed by other international instruments of which Nigeria is a signatory. Nearer home, the African Charter of Human and People's Rights, Article 4, the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, Article 6, all protect and guarantee the right to life.
So would you say, I mean, that the campaign, because we had an earlier guest who believes that, Mr. Femi Falana believes that it's already been taken care of in the Constitution, and even with the promulgation of the Administration of Criminal Justice Act, he believes that a lot of the concerns being raised have already been taken care of. What needs to be done is the implementation. Some other people say that what they think should be done is to reform the agency or the anti-robbery unit, not to ask for the scrapping of it.
To the extent that we have laws that guide the operation of state operatives, I think we just need to ensure the implementation. And so I would say that the recent death of the SARS may still be apt for now, but the operation needs to be streamlined to be in compliance with the provisions of the law, which prohibits torture and prohibits extrajudicial killing and demands that suspects must be treated with dignity. And under no circumstance must a suspect be deprived of his life. So what we need is to get the police authorities to re-engineer the process and bring it into compliance with the provisions of the Nigerian Constitution and as well as all the other international instruments that Nigeria is a signatory to.
But quickly, you know, people are also worried sometimes when you see these campaigns going on. I recall we spoke with the first PRO of the police, and, you know, we asked him what he thought. He thought it was a sponsored campaign. And, you know, just yesterday we saw pro and anti-end SARS campaign rallies across the country. What do you make when things begin to become pro and anti in the country? Do you think we missed the point?
No. I think that for a start, there have been numerous allegations of the activities of the operatives of SARS. Just that there was the morbid fear of talking about it. And so what has happened is that there's a sudden release of confidence to begin to talk about it, and that's where the social media has come up, because you can actually say so many things without being detected. So if we go by the various allegations that have been going on, I think what needs to be done is to actually begin to catalog the allegations and verify them to conclude whether they actually existed or not. I don't think that we should take a posture to say they never existed, the practices of the police are in order. We should look at them holistically, and the police authorities should take this very seriously, because if these allegations are true, they are really mass violations of human rights, and it negates the object for which the police is set up. So I believe that the pro and the anti. I don't understand how it works, but I think that we should leave those two and concentrate on finding out the truth by engaging and calling on people who may have been victims to come up and talk about it, and then the police will take a data of it and come to a realistic conclusion as to the existence or otherwise of these practices.